Alright, yo, welcome back. This is the first part of the third tier of the Lost / Mysterious Locations Iceberg. Let me know if you guys like how it's split into two parts for each one. They're just super long. I don't really want to make like a whole hour-and-a-half long video. That just kind of seems like a force to me, to be honest. So, but let me know if you rather that, or if you want them like shorter than this. I could try to break them into like 3 parts with just a few of them in each. And other than that, we better hop right into this. So let's get to it. First one is the Pine Gap, Australia base. So Pine Gap is just the commonly used name for a joint US and Australia satellite surveillance base, basically. And it's located in central Australia. Now, the location is super important because basically where the base is set is it's too far inland for like other countries' spy ships that are passing through international waters to actually intercept its signal. But it's also important because the US spy satellites that be flying over very important areas such as the Asian parts of Russia, China, and the Middle East, so they can intercept messages from all over there. But yeah, basically back on July 11, 2013, if you remember this guy Edward Snowden, he basically revealed documents that said that Pine Gap, along with a few other bases in Australia, were basically spying on citizens in Australia, basically everywhere. Listen to your text messages, your phone calls, reading your emails and your faxes. So it's pretty sketchy. You guys were basically scumbags, and Edward Snowden put that on the map, let people know. And that's why he was on the FBI wanted list, I'm pretty sure. I remember he ran to Japan or China, one of the Asian countries. I remember he went over there hearing about that. So, but yeah. Next up, we're going to do the Georgia Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones is kind of a weird one because I didn't even realize this was in the United States. Like, basically, what the Georgia Guidestones are is it's this giant granite monument. It consists of about 4, how can I explain this right? Basically, it's 1 in the middle and it's 4 around it. So it's like a square around it, and it also has a top. And there's another piece kind of off to the side that has another message. But what's weird about it is that inscribed in this is basically not commandments, but it's like what are they called, like guidelines is basically the best way to describe it. They're like 10 guidelines for humanity, and it's inscribed in 8 like of today's languages and 4 ancient languages. So number 1 is maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Number 2 is guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Number 3 is unite humanity with a living new language. Number 4 is rule passion, faith, tradition, and all other things with tempered reason. Number 5, protect people and nations with fair law and just courts. Number 6 is let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Number 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. Number 8, balance personal rights with social duties. Number 9 is prize truth, beauty, love, and seeking harmony with the infinite. And number 10 is be not a cancer on the earth, leave room for nature, leave room for nature. So I don't know, this guy seems a little whacked out, because if you read the first one, maintain humanity under 500 million, bro, we passed that so long ago. I think we're about to be at like 8 billion on the whole planet. That's just what's counted, so give or take a lot. And yeah, we ain't doing none of this shit. I mean, maybe only number 7. Nah, not even number 7.
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
We on to the next one. All right, so next up is The Man from TAURED. And The Man from TAURED is basically a story about a guy back in the 1950s who shows up to the Tokyo airport. He's arriving in Tokyo, and basically he's getting his passport stamped and all that stuff. And when they go to check it, they notice that his passport's a little weird because it's saying that he's coming from a made-up country called TAURED. And basically everything else about the passport is like smooth, you know what I mean? He's already got like a bunch of other stamps from different countries. He has previous stamps from Tokyo also, showing that he's already been there. And they want to hold him overnight for questioning, you know what I mean? They keep on trying to question him, and he just stops talking altogether. He doesn't say anything to them. So they leave him in this hotel room. They leave 2 guards there, and when they come back in the morning, he's gone. And that was it. They never seen him again. Apparently, an original report of the story reveals that the man was in fact called John Ziguris. He was a real person detained in 1960 in Japan for alleged document fabrication. But other than that, I really couldn't find too much. It's basically like a legend, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, take with that what you will. Up next is the Denver airport conspiracies. This one I'm not going to get super into either, because this one has so many different things and a lot of them are just debunked at this point. The weirdest part about the Denver airport is basically the fact that they have this giant blue horse statue with red eyes, and it's called Lucifer. And basically when it was being built, the guy who actually made it got killed by the head falling off and crushing him. So I don't know, I'm not really a religious person, but a blue fucking unicorn horse thing with red eyes, like, and that thing kills you, yikes, my guy. Yeah, other than that, I mean, there's a lot of weird things with the layout. The layout shows a really big underground, basically passageways, a bunch of hallways and stuff underground that actually aren't accessible. And there's a lot of weird art, a lot of weird paintings and stuff located around that people just think is weird, and it just sparks a lot of conspiracy theories. But you can dive into that one yourself if you want to. I didn't really find it like too crazy. The best thing was literally the Lucifer thing. So anyways, we're moving on. Next up is the tungsten event. I didn't know about this one at all, and I guess it's a little weird, but basically the tungsten event was a 12 megaton explosion that occurred near the Padocamania. We're moving on from the names, bro. Names is not my strong suit. But anyways, the explosion flattened an estimated 80 million trees over an area of 2,150 square kilometers, which is I guess 830 square miles. I'm American, bro. I don't know all that metric system shit, you know. But the tungsten event, or Tunguska event, is actually like the most recent recorded giant meteoroid hitting Earth, if that makes sense. All right, so up next is the abandoned aqueduct Petrobras. Basically, this thing is located near Sao Paulo in Brazil. And if you see the pictures of it, it looks like just a giant, almost a piece of a highway is what it looks like, just hanging out of the jungle, like the top of the jungle, and then it just disappears right back into it. And what it was supposed to be is, back in the 1950s, basically Brazil was making this big ass transcontinental highway, and the part that was going from Sao Paulo to Rio de Janeiro actually had to be constructed in the jungle, and they didn't want to destroy the actual jungle, so they figured, oh, we'll put it above, you know what I mean? Like right above it, so everything, we don't got to fuck with anything other things below it. And basically around the 1970s, they actually started to build this part in the jungle, and the working conditions were horrible. People just were passing out, too hot, it's deep in the jungle, you can't really get supplies there. Like basically Brazil just ran out of money making this thing. They got about 900 feet deep with it, so it's like 900 feet long, and it's about 130 feet off the ground from the jungle. So this thing is fucking massive, dude. And Brazil's economic crisis basically stopped it, and nobody's ever worked on it since. It's too deep in the jungle, and I just figured people ain't gonna try to do that, you know, maybe one day. But as far as right now, it's not looking like it. But kind of a boring one. Moving on to one that's a little bit cooler, I guess. All right, up next is the real story of the Sword and the Stone. So I'm sure you guys have heard, or at least some of you guys have heard, the story of Excalibur. It's like an old Disney movie, and nobody can pull it out besides like the one prince or the king kind of guy. Well, basically that was all based on this real story. So the real location of the sword is actually, it's in Tuscany. It's in Abbey of Saint Galgano, which is a former Caesarean monastery, and basically now it's just ruins. The story of the story inside the ruins basically shows a knight that turned into a monk, and basically he shoves the sword in the stone, and it's still there to this day. Nobody's gotten it out. So it's a little weird. It's kind of on the head, you know what I mean? So who was this guy, right? His name was Galgano Guidati. He was born in 1148 near Cisudino, just southwest of Siena, basically Italy. He was a knight, said to have lived a debauched life. Basically, this guy was a fucking asshole. He was probably doing a whole bunch of other scummy shit. But basically, he lived this shitty ass way until about the age 32, when he said that the archangel Michael basically began appearing in his dreams, and this led him to the site of the visions of the archangel, like where he was. And basically, to mark the change from his past, because he was changing his ways, he was becoming a monk from this scumbag that he was like changing his whole life around. He stuck the sword in the rock all the way back in around 1180 is when people are guessing, and he promised to God that he would never raise his weapon to anyone again. Recent research has actually proven that the stone and the sword is actually around the dates. It's dated from around 1100s to early 1200s, so story seems like it could be true. And yeah, I don't really have too many thoughts on that shit. Up next is Centralia. So if you have ever watched horror movies, you've seen probably Silent Hill. I'm sure most of us have. That is the place. This is the place that's based on, basically. How all the smoke is constantly coming up. And basically this place is in Pennsylvania, and it's got these mines. They used to have these mines, I should say. And basically there was a fire that had caught in the mines, and it's still burning to this day. You can drive through there. There's smoke rising all over the place. It basically got shut down. In 2002, they discontinued the zip code, the postal service, and basically they said that after 2002, anybody who lives there can choose to just live out the rest of their life there, but nobody else can actually move and live in there. And now the place is just basically a dead zone. So up next is the VERYOVKINA cave. Basically, the easiest way to put this one is it's just the deepest cave on Earth so far that's been found. It's about 7,257 feet deep. And the weirdest thing I could find about this one was back in August 2021, the Perovo expedition. They found a body of a tourist at negative 3,600 feet. He was later identified as Sergei Kozev, who was a Russian. He left his home on the 1st of November 2020, and he started descending into the cave. Basically, he made it to about negative 2,000 feet where he set up like permanent kind of camp, and then he continued to descend where he got down to 3,600 feet, negative 3,600 feet I should say, and he got stuck because he just didn't have the skills, he didn't have the right equipment, and he just passed away down there, and he died of hypothermia technically. And that was it. Moving on to the next one. So up next is the Flannel Isles Lighthouse. Basically, this is a lighthouse that is on Ely Moor. It's one of the Flannel Isles outside of mainland Scotland, and it's really important because the people that were taking care of this lighthouse disappeared. All right. The first time this was noticed that something weird was going on with this place was back on December 15th in 1900, when a steamship that was driving by going from Philadelphia to Leith, they basically noticed that the lighthouse wasn't working, and they didn't have time to really stop by there. So a few weeks later, on December 20th, they had sent out a relief ship going to check on them. They couldn't get there in time because of some like strange weird weather that was happening, and basically it took them a few more days. They got there on the 26th, and when they finally arrived, basically the lighthouse was supposed to be manned by 3 people: James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur. And basically they had a rotating 4th man who would spend time on shore and, take care of everything else around the place. Now, when the relief crew arrived, they noticed that the flagstaff had no flag. None of the unusual provision boxes had been left on the landing stage for restocking, and more ominously, none of the lighthouse keepers were there to welcome them ashore. So this was weird. There was no boxes because they were supposed to bring them supplies every few weeks or whatever. They show up, there's no boxes to get resupplied, there's no flag, and there's no one to greet them when they actually got there. Jim Harvey, the captain of the Hesperus, which was the relief ship that went over to the island to actually take care of these people and check on them, he attempted to reach them by blowing the ship's whistle and firing a flare to try to tell them, like, yo, the ship is pulling up, like, we here, come get ready, come get your stuff. When that was unsuccessful, basically they launched a boat, and Joseph Moore, who was the actual relief keeper, he was put on shore alone. He found the entrance to the gates of the compound and the main door were both shut. The beds were unmade and the clocks were unwound. When he returned to the landing stage to tell the rest of the crew that he showed up with the bad news, he then went back up to the lighthouse. He went up there with a second mate and a seaman, and basically a further search revealed that the lamps had been cleaned and refilled. A set of oilskins was found, suggesting that one of the keepers had left that lighthouse without them, and there was no sign of any of the keepers, neither inside the lighthouse nor anywhere on the island. Moore and three volunteer seamen were left on the island to attend to the light, and basically the ship left. Captain Harvey sent the telegram to the Northern Lighthouse Board dated December 26, 1900, stating, "A dreadful accident has happened to the Flannans. The 3 keepers, Ducat, Marshall, and the Occasional, have disappeared from the island. The clocks were stopped and other signs indicated that the accident must have happened about a week ago. Poor fellows, they must have been blown over the cliffs or drowned trying to secure a crane. No bodies were ever found, but there have been some mysterious sightings resulting in fascinating national speculation. Implausible stories ensued, such as a sea serpent had carried the men away, they had arranged for a ship to take them away and start new lives, they had been abducted by foreign spies, or they had met their fate through the malevolent presence of a boat filled with ghosts." So I guess that's up to you guys to choose. Either they got killed by ghosts, they got taken away by spies, they just got another ship to come pick them up and they just dipped and started new lives, said fuck all y'all. Who really knows, man? I don't know shit. Only they know. Hopefully they Gucci. Alright, so up next is room number 39 in North Korea. It's officially called the Central Committee Bureau 39 of the Workers' Party of Korea. It's basically this secret organization that they try to just keep the money flowing through North Korea and to their leaders. Does that make sense? The organization is estimated to bring in between 500 million and 1 billion, if not more, per year. It's involved in illegal activities such as counterfeiting $100 bills, producing controlled substances, including methamphetamine, and the conversion of morphine containing opium into more potent opiums like heroin. So they're total scumbags. They do international insurance fraud, and it's just like a whole bunch of Korean scumbags, dog.
You suck!
That's the best way to describe it. Like, they sell drugs, they do fraud. Room 39 is the largest of the 3 influential so-called third floor offices, along with Office 35, which is tasked with intelligence, and Office 38, which handles legal financial activities. Room 39 is to be located, it's believed to be located in a ruling workers' party building in Pyongyang, not far from one of the North Korean leaders' residences, and all 3 of the offices were initially housed on the 3rd floor of the building where Kim Jong-il's office used to be, hence the moniker 3rd floor. The 3rd floor is basically just the name of all of the organizations, all the rooms, I guess you could call it, like the room 39, 38. It's just all of them. They're all called the 3rd floor. That's like their whole like gang name, I guess, whatever you want to call them. So up next is the Royal Air Force Station MENWITH Hill. Basically, it's the same exact thing as Pine Gap. It's the easiest way to put it. It's another surveillance base for satellites. This one is just located in Yorkshire, England. That's about it. I'm not really going to go over the whole thing because if you listen to Pine Gap, it's the exact same thing. This one's just part of NATO and everything like that. So other than that, we're moving on to the next one anyways. I'm not going to waste too much time on that. Next up is 33 Thomas Street. So 33 Thomas Street, it used to be the old AT&T building, is the easiest way. It's a 550-foot tall building, windowless skyscraper. It's in lower Manhattan, and it stands on the east side of Church Street between Thomas Street and Worth Street. The building is an example of the brutalist architectural structure. It is a telephone exchange or wire center building which contained 3 major 4 ESS switches used for inter-exchange, which is long distance telephoning basically, as well as a number of other switches used for competitive local exchange carrier services. However, it is not used for an incumbent local exchange carrier services and is not a central office. The CLLI code for this facility is NYC-MNYBW. The building has also been described as the likely location of a National Security Agency, or NSA, mass surveillance hub codenamed Titan Point. So what I got from this is basically, it used to be the old AT&T building where they would connect all the wires. If you've ever seen back in the day how they used to connect phone calls and stuff, that's what I'm picturing. But now a lot of people believe that this is where the NSA actually surveils people's, like I was saying with the Pine Gap thing, how they surveil people's like texts, emails, phone calls, and they basically like listen through it all. This is the place where people are thinking this is taking place, which is in New York at the old AT&T building. And that's really it. I mean, nothing's confirmed, so like I said, who knows, you know what I mean? So up next is Dead VLEI. Dead VLEI is a white clay pan inside the Namid Nakluft Park. Holy fuck, I probably fucked that up. It's in Namibia in Africa, and the real name of it, or what it actually means, is dead marsh. Basically, the clay pan came to be when it was formed after rainfall when the Tshab River flooded, creating temporary shallow pools where the abundance of water allowed camel thorn trees to grow. When the climate changed, the trees basically died because the drought hit. The trees basically, they mummified, is the best way to explain it. They dried so much that they don't actually die. They don't fall apart. Basically, when the river got blocked, the trees became these skeletons. They're believed to be about between 600 and 700 years old, and they're now so, like, they're super black. They're just straight black from the sun, like, constantly burning them. It says that technically they're not petrified. The wood does not decompose because it's so dry. So that's why I would picture it being, like, mummified. If you've ever seen, there's a super famous painting where there's, like, a clock dripping off one of these. And I never realized that this was that place until I actually like looked this up until I was doing this video. So that was pretty cool. Second last thing is the Baltic Sea anomaly. This one is pretty fucking weird because it's just this big ass shape that's inside the Baltic Sea that nobody really knows what it is. Basically, it's a feature visible on an indistinct sonar image taken by Peter Lindberg, Dennis Aberg, and their Swedish team Ocean X. They were this old Swedish diving team. They were treasure hunting on the floor of the northern Baltic Sea at the center of the Gulf of Bothnia in June 2011. The team suggests that their sonar image shows that it's like not natural. It looks really weird. All right, and basically a lot of people thought that this was a UFO, although it's never actually been confirmed. Most people, including scientists and experts, just think that this is just a natural geological formation. But if you're looking at it, it looks pretty fucking creepy. Kind of looks like a spaceship. I can see where they're getting that from, but who knows? I mean, if an alien's smart enough to get here, dude, I don't think they're fucking crashing into our ocean. Like, let's be real. If they're smart enough to fucking space travel and get here, because you think they're that fucking stupid that they're gonna crash into the thing that takes up 75% of our planet? Like, let's use our brains, people. Come on. Anyways, let's finish this one off. Last up is the roller coaster bridge. Roller coaster bridge, this one is not too crazy, but when you see the videos of it, you definitely see where the name comes from. All right, basically it's officially called the ESHIMA OHASHI bridge. It's also known as roller coaster bridge. Super easy, right? It's a rigid frame bridge that was built in Japan. That it connects Matsu, the Shimane prefecture, and Sakaminato, the Nakaomi Lake. The bridge is built over the Nakaomi Lake. Let's get that straight. All right. It was built from 1997 to 2004, and it is the largest rigid frame bridge in Japan and the third largest in the world. And basically, the images of the bridge have gone viral basically because it looks like it's fucking twisty and turny. I'll try to throw up a picture or a video or something, so because words don't do it justice. That's all I got for you guys. This was only half of this third tier, and I know this one kind of sucked, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time fucking talking right now, bro. This is so annoying. I've been trying to record this shit for like 2 days now, bro. Make sure you subscribe if you did get this far, or throw me a like or whatever. We trying to run this thing up, trust me. Yeah, next part should be out sometime next week. I'm gonna try to push that one out real quick. I don't want to slack like I did this one, but yeah, I guess I'll catch y'all later. Peace.